from the internet. It's the BTB Internet Talk Show. Special guests, Pandemonium, Dean Martin. If you've got the internet, you get a talk show. Here's your host, Mr. BTB himself, Scott Curtis.
Be honest, when was the last time you laughed at home? Wouldn't you love the chance to see live comedy? Great news! October 1st to October 4th, we've got Plano Virtual Comedy Festival. Live comedy from the comfort of your own home. We've got stand-ups from Los Angeles to New York, from Canada to Malaysia, from Conan to NBC to Fox. And on Zoom, you'll have a front row seat to every show all weekend. Head to PlanoComedyFestival.com to get yourself a weekend of hilarious comedy straight through your computer via Zoom. Plano Virtual Comedy Festival. Go to PlanoComedyFestival.com for more information. Get your tickets discounted when you buy before the end of September. Again, go to www.PlanoComedyFestival.com for tickets, lineup, and schedules. Bring the laughter back into your household. PlanoComedyFestival.com for all of your festing at home comedy needs. MediaTek Institute is a proud sponsor of the Plano Comedy Festival.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Oh, okay.
Look at this.
What's up? I can hear everybody else but Scott.
Yeah, we can't hear you,
I'm
Scott.
having trouble hearing you, Scott.
I just did all of that intro with my mic off.
Okay. Okay. We were like, what's happening?
That's hot.
It's okay. You can fix it in post.
Did anybody lip read? So
Hello.
so I'm gonna go back to the podcast. So if anybody is tuning in to see your friends, see your buddies, the Behind the Bits podcast is a podcast that's a labor of love for me. And it's something that I started in January. And one of my favorite things to do is talk to comedians about comedy and talk serious about it. And that's what the Behind the Bits podcast is all about. So type Behind the Bits into any podcast app and my blue background with the mask will show up, and give it a listen because it's good. Okay, let's get on with the show. I told a few of you when you came in that I asked you all to send me your bios and pictures and stuff like that. And I didn't read any of them because I haven't had time. And I lost Justin and I lost Al. They're back. So I'm just going to get to know you one at a time. And I'm going to go just right up and down the old screen here. Jay Mandyam, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So I'm just going to ask you three questions. First off, what got you into comedy?
I used to watch older when I was born. He was like 50. I was the accent. So he wasn't a very active guy. So we just spent a lot of time watching sitcoms and comedians. And he like loved predicting the next joke or line in the get it right and be like, I should have been a scriptwriter. And I think like in my head, I subconsciously got it in my head that I had to get my own sitcom because it was something that my dad really enjoyed. And at the time when I was growing up, it was like it was like only comics that had sitcoms. So I thought you had to be a stand-up comedian to get a sitcom. So that just like got in my head early on, and I said I'm going to be a stand-up comedian one day.
Cool. And how long have you been doing comedy, Jay?
About a little over 17 years now.
Holy cow. You look a lot younger than you are, I guess, huh?
I started when I was 17, I think.
Wow. So tell me, this wasn't on the list, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Can you tell me what your best moment of doing stand-up comedy was?
Well, I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question? You cut out a little bit.
Okay. Can you tell me what your best moment of stand-up comedy was for you?
Like the two comedians that I admired the most kind of getting into stand-up were Paul Reiser and Christopher Titus. And there was like a week when I was sort of like just like things just weren't happening for me. And I was like really just frustrated with my career and thought it was going nowhere. And I got a call that Paul Reiser wanted to open for him on a Thursday. And so on the next day, the Friday, I got the call that Christopher Titus had asked me to come open for him. And so I went and did that. And I was like, wait, why do I hate myself so much? Why do I think I haven't done anything? I just opened for like my two favorite comedians in the same week. And that really kind of like improved my confidence and really just made me like, I would definitely say there was a shift in my stage performance after that week because I was more confident in myself.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's a good story. How, as far as the Plano Fest is concerned, have you done the live one?
No, I have not. I'm from Dallas, born and raised originally, but I moved. I believe the Plano Festival has only been around for like a year or two, so I haven't really done it. And, figured why not now.
And have you been doing much of the virtual stuff?
I've tried doing in the last few months, and they're brutal. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
They're kind of I feel like the ones you'd probably be really good at, because I feel like the guys who are good at podcasting and good at radio and sense what something is funny without the immediate feedback, they seem to have a handle on how to do Zoom shows, but I haven't figured that one out yet.
Yeah, you'd think I'd be good, but I suck. I've tried it. Thanks. All right, let's get to know Julie Weidmann. Julie, where are you from?
Hello.
Hi.
I think I have a terrible connection. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you about 2 seconds after you say something.
Yeah, shoot, my connection is bad, I think.
Well, I tell you what, let's see if I can come back to you. I'll go over to Vickie. Hey, Vickie, where are you from?
I'm originally from New Hampshire, but right now I live in New Jersey.
Okay. And how long have you been doing comedy?
It's a little weird. So I did comedy from 2000 to 2007 and took a 12-year break. And so I came back at it in January of 2019. So altogether 9 years, but with a big ass break in between.
And what's your favorite moment in comedy?
Oh gosh. I would say from way back when I was a lot younger, and it was Jim Gaffigan. It was at Stand Up New York, and before he was married, before he had kids, all that kind of stuff. And this was before social media and everything, but he was on one of the shows. He was our headliner. He's like the nicest person in the world. And he would come in and sit with everybody, watch the show. You know, we were all super young. We were doing our 5 minutes and all that kind of stuff. And he would just talk to everybody, really super sweet, shake hands, everything. And I just remember him coming in and just telling everybody, you know, you did a great job, blah, blah. And he came in with this little teeny notebook and a pen. And he's like, I'm doing a website. do you want to be on my mailing list? And so we would all put our email on there, and like, but he was just the nicest person. If anyone came over to him and was like trying to treat him differently and special and all that, he would shoot that down right away. He was like, no, I'm fine. He was just so nice. He was just the nicest person. So I love whenever I see him on TV, I'm like, that guy deserves it, because he's the nicest person in the world. And I love that he went off a couple weeks ago. I was like, yeah,
Yeah, that was that was good stuff. And immediately after that, I retweeted some of that stuff, but I always go back to, if you go on YouTube and Google Jim Gaffigan Saturn outtakes, it's the most hilarious thing in the world. He's doing a Saturn car ad, and he's just going out of his mind doing this commercial, and it's about 3 or 4 minutes of just excellent stuff.
Yeah, he's good. He's just, and the cool thing is, he really is nice, like the nicest person in the world, and I love that. And it's just so cool to have somebody be cool and nice in real life and not be a jerk, Yeah. And so that's cool. I think that's one of my favorite moments, just because when you meet somebody that's really nice and they make it, and you're just like, thank God.
Yeah.
And then I met an idol of mine that I grew up watching as, Evening at the Improv and all that. And I got to open for her, and I was so excited to open for her. And then when I met her in person, she was like the biggest bitch. And I, to this day, hate her. And it just makes me so mad. I'm like, why?
Names, Vickie, names.
No, I'm not going to give her a name. I was just like, I hate this woman now. I just hate her now. And it made me so mad, because I remember like loving her when I was a teenager. And one of the reasons I did stand up, I just was like, oh, she's a woman. She's funny. She's great. And she was such a bitch to me, because I said to her in person, I was like, I'm so honored to meet you. I think you're so funny. I'm such a fan. She goes, yeah, they all are. And I was like, I was just like, I hate you. So that would be like one of the worst moments. But yeah.
The other thing is, though, is we all have bad days too, and sometimes you just find somebody in a bad. Because I know I've treated people like that in my life. I've treated my kids like that, so I know that can happen. But sometimes you see kind of a more of a, this happens all the time, and you hear other stories, and it's a pattern. So
yeah, it actually, that was like a big learning lesson for me. She didn't show up to watch the whole show. And so there was a young guy who opened the show, and he did this whole bit on that talking paperclip on Microsoft. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And she came in and did this whole thing on the talking paperclip. So the audience didn't laugh. And she got mad. She yelled at the audience, and she's like, this is funny shit, you guys. And some guy in the audience was like, well, the guy that started the show did a whole bit about it, and he was actually funnier. So she was mad about that. So when I got introduced to her, she was like mad about that. So yeah. But I've since heard she's just not nice anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you been doing any virtual stuff, Vickie?
I have. I just did the Burbank Comedy Festival in August, and I've been doing a ton of open mics to like learn Zoom, to learn how to pause so that you have, the delay and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely a different animal. It's a whole different way of doing stand-up, and a whole different, it's different, like, because you're not on stage in front of live people. You're trying to still connect, but I mean, I'm usually very high energy. Totally different than this, and so it's I had to learn a whole different way of doing stuff, but it's fun. I love it. You don't have to leave your house. I don't have to like worry about like getting to the next club. I don't have to, so I don't have to worry about like some dumbass not wearing a mask and possibly getting sick. So I don't mind that part either. So
yeah, no doubt. All right, Tyrone, tell me all about yourself. Where are you from?
Hey, so Jacksonville, Florida is my home. I've lived here since I was 13 years old, but I was raised in a few other places around the country.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I don't know. Or are we? Okay, I was I was ready for a scolding. I didn't know what was happening. Okay, all right, good. Just making sure. Yeah. So Jacksonville, Florida.
Excellent.
Is the place
I got to say, I love that voice. Do you do radio too? Yeah.
I don't yet. Maybe I'll be invited. Who knows if anybody knows anybody? Looking at you, Scott.
Okay.
My brother is actually a voiceover.
So how long
actor.
you been doing comedy?
Yeah. Going. It's a little bit past 4 years now. Yeah, pretty young to it, I guess, compared to some people.
Yeah.
But yeah, going on 4 years. Started late.
Oh.
I'm older than I sound.
So
and look.
Yeah.
And feel.
I'm younger than I look and I sound. So there you go. Yeah. So are you? What's your favorite moment in comedy in those 4 years?
Oh, so far, my favorite moment. I'm gonna throw two quick ones out there because one I got to speak on. It wasn't performing, but I got to spend just a really special night in at the Comedy Cellar in New York with some friends, and just had for somebody who's a comedy fan, for somebody who has loved it their whole life, it was just an amazing night. Getting to just be in what we kind of consider comedy mecca. Yeah, and that was awesome. And my favorite performing moment, actually, the weekend before everything shut down. I had just done my first gig in Vegas and Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club. And it was, momentum was building and things were feeling great. And then the world ended. And here we are.
Well, that's good. Have you been doing much of the virtual stuff?
I've been getting on it. Yeah. It's certainly not a replacement for the stage. I'm sure we all feel that way. Really, really miss being on stage, but it's a safe alternative. And it's fun. I think if you look at it the right way and you approach it, in a way that's more, I guess, accommodating to just being at home and talking like this, then, it can work out pretty well.
Yeah. Have you seen anybody in watching all this virtual stuff that just totally kills it? That looks like they should be doing the virtual comedy. They're so good.
Actually, yeah. On one of the shows I did, Judah Friedlander was actually the guy who closed it out, and he killed. I mean, he was doing crowd work and just killing it the whole time. And he's doing shows almost every day of the week, and he's starting to do his own shows where he does 70 minutes to 100 minutes a time, just material and crowd work and stuff. So he's really leaning into it.
Yeah, cool. And have you performed at the Plano Fest before? This is the third year for it. Yeah.
No, this is my first year. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Hey, Brett, how's it going?
How you doing, Scott?
Good. So how long you been doing comedy, Brett?
2 years.
2 years. And what brought you into it?
It was something I always wanted to try, and someone convinced me to take a class. And when I got there and they said, okay, it's time to put together 5 minutes, I went through my notebooks because I'm a writer, and I realized that I had been writing jokes just without really thinking about it. So I actually found that I had 5 minutes, and it's not 5 minutes that I'm still using, but writing material is something that I really enjoy. And so that's really all I do now.
Yeah. So what in 2 years? So I've only been doing it for a little over 4 myself. In 2 years, do you feel like you found the comedy voice that everybody looks for?
No, I don't. Okay. I mean, I think I've found a comedy voice, but I do really feel like it's developing. And that's honestly one of the things I really like about comedy is that it kind of happens in real time. Is you keep getting better. And with moving on to Zoom, obviously you've had to develop some slightly different skills.
Right.
But it's actually, I mean, if nothing else, the thing about quarantine, I've had a lot of time to work on comedy.
Yeah. And I think I've seen your name on quite a few of these virtual shows. Is that something that you're leaning into and enjoying?
Absolutely. I do one every week with West Side Comedy Club called Monday Night Live. I do as many as I possibly can. Anything I can get my hands on. Next week, I've got one every single night. Next week includes, is it next week that's Plano? Yeah. Next week includes Plano. So I've between those two, and then I've got one every other night of the week.
Really cool. That's great. So what's your favorite experience in comedy since you started?
Well, there's two. I got a note from Jim Gaffigan, which was really fun. I was at Gotham, and I'm walking off stage, and he says, when you say stay-at-home dad, you should say emasculated. I was like, okay. And he said, does that make sense? I was like, yeah, it makes sense, Jim Gaffigan. Yeah, okay. You know, but just speaking to what Vickie said, I mean, he seems like just a tremendously nice guy. I was so flattered that he was listening to my set.
Yeah.
You know, took the time to give me a note, which was really very, very nice. And then the other thing was the crowd work moment. This was an onstage thing. And I did the socialism versus capitalism clap off, which was just, it happened completely spontaneously. I made some stray comment. I was doing the check spot on a show that I produce. And I said socialism, and somebody said boo. I was like, boo? Who said boo socialism? I said, okay, let's have a clap off. What do you prefer? Do you prefer socialism or do you prefer capitalism? And it was so completely random, but it was so much fun. And it was the kind of thing that can only happen with comedy.
Oh, that's really cool. And so this Plano festival, and we've got people just tuned in. So if you are used to watching the BTB Internet Talk Show, and I know you are because everybody watches it, I normally have 3 random people and my buddy Steve on. This time I've got performers in the Plano Comedy Festival, which is going on October 1st through the 4th. And all you got to do, I've got that little ticker going there, planocomedyfestival.com, and click on tickets. And golly, you can get tickets for a show, all the shows, some of the shows, whatever you want. And they've got people like Lori Kilmartin, Kurt Braunohler, others. I'll put, well, holy cow, I'll just pull it up. We got Lori Kilmartin, Kurt Braunohler, Steve Hofstetter, Roxy Hayes, Mary E. Kennedy, Kareth Foster, and Comedy Sports. Holy cow. I mean, I would go see any of them anywhere, and you get to see them in your own living room. So, and then you get to see all of us too. Is that not good or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great lineup.
Yeah. So that's what's going on tonight. And it's going to get better when Dean shows up because I'm a little bit tongue-tied tonight, as I usually am. Stammer. But thank you, Brett. I'm going to go on to Justin now. Justin, hi.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Sorry about the internet delay here. It was like working perfectly. It was just you and I and Jay, and then it started getting bogged down. So
yeah.
I'm literally standing next to my router right now. So
that does help.
Good thing I live in a tiny apartment in Los Angeles, so the router is right next to me at all times.
Yeah. So how long you been doing comedy, Justin?
This is my first show. Thank you for allowing me to do this. I celebrated 15 years last month.
All right.
Thank you. So yeah, if you would have said, hey, where do you see yourself in 15 years? This is it. Yeah, performing in my bedroom on a nightly basis. Is
So I'm going to ask you a different question since you've been doing it 15 years. What was your first good moment on stage where you thought, hey, I could do this?
It was about a month before quarantine. No, I'm just kidding.
Jesus.
I think, God, that's such a great question. I think the very first time I went up, and I think Jay might have been there, Jay Mandyam, we started in Dallas together. The first time I went up was like amazing, and it was like 80 people there, and it was like I just like crushed. I was like, oh, dude, I could do this for the rest of my life. And of course, the second and third show I like bombed terribly. Yeah. But the first show was so amazing. I was like, oh, I don't want to do anything. So I would say that I think I peaked. I think I peaked in 2005, to be honest with you guys. It's been all downhill since that. But keep coming back. No, yeah, you know, to me, comedy's always ebbed and flowed. It's always been like, oh man, everything's great. I finally figured it out. And then you have that show that just humbles you and you got to start over again. Yeah. And then it's just like, you know, you get cocky. You're like, oh, this is the set that works. It's bulletproof. And then like the one night it doesn't, and you're just like shattered glass and got to rebuild. So yeah. I never get too comfortable. But yeah, I would say the very first show I think was when I was like, oh yeah, I really want to do this for a long time.
Yeah, cool. And have you been doing much of the virtual stuff?
I have, yeah. I have been doing a lot of stuff. I don't know, man. I joke, but it really combines my two favorite things, which is comedy and not leaving my apartment.
Yeah.
So I'm really stoked about just, I don't know who lives in LA on this screen, but it's like getting to any mic or to getting any show. Holly, it's just such a process, So just to roll out of bed, I roll out of bed at 5 p.m. and then just get and start doing comedy. Like, oh, it's amazing to me. I love it.
Yeah. That part is nice.
I'm also old and lazy, so.
Yeah, and I believe you have done the Plano Fest before, right?
What's really funny is I haven't. I grew up in Plano. I actually went to high school in Plano, so it took a pandemic and me doing it from California to perform in my hometown, which is interesting. So.
Oh, that's
yeah, I lived in Plano. I graduated, and I just wasn't ever able to make it back, and so now I can do it from Burbank, which is hometown hero returns from his living room.
Yeah. And now there's a couple of you in LA. Are the restrictions pretty much the same there in LA County?
No, we're shut down completely. There's nothing going on. I know a lot of places comedy shows have been opening back up, and there's nothing going on. I mean, there's drive-through comedy, and I did a show in Santa Monica 2 weeks ago. It was on a patio outside with no microphone. I got heckled by a dog, so it's pretty much business as usual here in LA.
Oh, that's great. Well, thanks, Justin. Kevin,
yeah, thanks for having me.
We're seeing too much of each other, aren't we?
Kevin?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, how are you?
Third time in 2 weeks that we've hung out.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, how long have you been doing comedy? Yeah. I put a shirt on for my other shirt.
So I just passed. Sorry, broke up a little bit, but yeah, I've been doing comedy for just over 2 years. Decided to start doing it when my wife and I moved to New Jersey from Massachusetts, and I tell people the worst thing that ever happened at my first time at an open mic was I went up, told jokes, and people laughed.
Now, you're no stranger to performing, though. I know a little bit about you, and you played bass in a symphonic metal band for a few years, right?
Yeah, I was. I always downplay it because I made just about as much money in doing that as I did with stand. I was a professional bass player for about 10 years in southern New England. Played all the major cities in New England. Every other week. The biggest thing we ever did, we actually we were invited to play at Dragon Con in Atlanta, which is the big sci-fi convention on the East Coast. That was the crowning achievement with that group. Yeah.
That's great. I know I look like maybe an REO Speedwagon guy, but I'm really more of a metalhead, and so I totally dig the metal. And you, so
metal
I might
comes in all shape and forms. Christopher Lee sang in a heavy metal band.
He sure did, yeah. And he did all those Hammer movies. Those were all the good horror stuff. Yeah, that was good shit. I don't remember what I was going to say. I really enjoy the metal and the punk and the hard stuff, but I like a little Dean Martin now and then too, and he may show up tonight. So just FYI. And I wanted to mention you are a finalist in my comedy contest. So Behind the Bits is doing a comedy contest. I've had 3 rounds, and I've had
Yeah.
I picked the top 2 out of each round, and the comics actually voted for themselves in 3 criteria, and the comics were honest. They actually gave honest feedback, which is really cool. And so you are one of them that's going on, and another guy that I really like, Chris Wright, you're both in the right 10 group with Joel, and I think it's really neat that I've got some old hats, people who've been doing it for a while, along with the newbies, and the newbies are right there with them as far as virtual comedy goes. How long did that take to get to you, Kevin?
I think I lost everybody.
All right, we're gonna go on to Holly. Hi, Holly. How are you?
Hi, how's it going?
Great. So, how long have you been doing comedy, Holly?
Yeah, forget me.
I've been doing it for 6 years now. I actually met Justin before I started doing stand-up. We both worked at a comedy club together, and I worked at the club with the intention of starting comedy, but working at the club made me never want to do it. So I quit, and then I started doing stand-up right after.
That's great. So, thinking about the number of years you've been doing it, what was it that made you really take that plunge and say, "Hey, I'm just going to do this"? And I'm not talking about open mics, but what was it when you had that magical moment when you said, "Okay, I'm going to make this my life now"?
Oh God, I think I did improv and sketch for so long that I finally was like, finally, I don't have to worry about anybody else, and I was like, like really funny. So
yeah,
I just love it more than anything. And also I constantly think like it's my only skill. So what else am I going to do?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish that was my only skill. Then I could go headlong into it. I would feel much better about doing that. Let's see. Let's get back over here to Al. Hey, Al, how are you?
Great. How you doing, Scott?
Great. So I think I know this answer, but how long have you been doing stand-up?
I've only been doing stand-up for a couple of years.
What got you started?
I'm really disappointed, Scott. You said no small talk, and I wanted to talk about my feelings.
You can call me afterward.
I started. I met this guy. I worked in a hockey rink for the Dallas Stars, and I met this gentleman, Eric Eaton, who's a pretty well-known magician, and he encouraged me to do it. I did it. I've done a lot of shows with him, and it's been great. I did always use comedy. I was a business executive, and I did always use comedy as a part of sales and marketing and business. And a big fan of Johnny Carson growing up.
So was I. I used to. So it was for me. It was Tom Dreesen first. So Tom's my guy, and I saw him on the Mike Douglas show one day, and I was like 10 years old, and after that, you know what it was like trying to find people on TV doing talk shows. You had to get the TV guide out and find out when he's going to be on Carson, when he's going to be on Merv, when he's going to be on Dinah Shore, and all that kind of stuff. I probably saw him 20 or 30 times on TV, and then Letterman came up, and then Letterman became my guy, and those two are best friends anyway, so it's just like watching the same person.
Yeah, it's true. So that's what got me in, and it's an old person to get into it, and obviously I'm 70 now, and still going at it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the, I started when I was 52, and I do think it does help keep your brain working. It's one of my bits, keep your brain working and keep you young. And I wish it would have done for me like it did for you and had me keep my hair, but I guess
I told you my secret. So
yeah. Well, I do that too. So
well, not enough, Scott. Not
apparently
enough.
Not. Apparently not the good stuff.
You got to get the stuff that goes straight to your hair.
Yeah, yeah. So I do want to recognize the folks who are putting on the Plano Fest. It's Wes Corwin, Brittany Goss, and Tom Smith. They are juggling 4 days of comedy, virtual comedy, which in some cases is harder than doing live comedy. And they've got, I mean, I'm looking at all the performers. If I was to do the math here, I'd say we've got about 50 of us. And they are just doing a great job of keeping everything organized and doing open mics to get us some practice and stuff like that. I did get to talk to Wes on my podcast. I think it was episode 20 something. And it's one of my favorite podcasts because he didn't want to be there. And if you listen to the first 20 minutes of it, all you get is one-word answers, yes, no, and every once in a while there would be a yes, sir. And finally, after about 20 or 25 minutes, he loosened up and said, "Oh, this is a real podcast. I'm going to go ahead and talk now." But it's hilarious. It's one of the funniest moments I've had so far because that dude did not want to be there. He wouldn't even look at. I had him on screen. He wouldn't even look at me when he talked to me. So
he's very funny.
He's brilliant. And I figured stuff out about him in that podcast that that he never even told me, and I just knew. I knew he was a script writer, and I could tell just by the way he was. Tyrone's back. Hi, Tyrone. I'm glad you're back.
Yeah, thanks. That was a complete accident. I don't know why the window closed, but here I am. Thank you for letting me back in. I appreciate it.
One of my favorite things about virtual comedy is it does end when you turn the internet off, and all I got to do is go hit that router, and I'm done. All right. Well, you guys don't know this unless you're one of my raving fans of the BTB Internet Talk Show, but Dean Martin, we all thought he died in 1995 of lung cancer, and actually he was frozen. He was cryogenically frozen, and they brought him back just recently. And the poor guy poured all of his money into the cryogenics, and he's got nothing left. So he's my roommate now. He's been hanging out at the house. You know, we're cooking for 3 now, and he likes to get on the show. I didn't do the show last week because I was traveling, and he's been pacing and he's pissed off. So he wants to come talk to you guys, and I just got to bring him on. Hey, everybody. It's me, Dino. How y'all doing?
Hey, Dino.
Wow.
So good.
Man, I got to tell you, when Scott didn't do a show last week, I was just pacing the floor, man, and drinking bourbon out of his wife's scotch glasses or wine glasses or whatever the hell they are.
Thank God that's where that went.
Last night I was drinking wine out of a whiskey glass. I don't know, whatever it takes. But yeah, it's me, Dean Martin, and you know, usually I do some icebreaker questions because, frankly, you guys are boring as hell. But I'm going to go ahead and give you a chance to ask me a few questions. So if you got a question for the old Dino, it's me, Dean Martin. Shoot, give me some questions.
I got one for you.
Anything. Yeah, okay.
So you've been cryogenically frozen. What do you eat now?
Well, you know, Scott and Lisa are kind of on a vegan vegetarian thing. And basically, you know, I'm Dean Martin and I eat steaks and potatoes and stuff like that. And so I found the Taco Bell, and, you know, I've been walking to the taco. The funny thing is I'm Dean Martin, and they won't give me my license back because I'm technically dead. So I have to walk to the Taco Bell, and the dining room's closed. So I got to walk through the drive-through, and none of those kids know who I am. So they treat me like shit at the drive-through. It's not fun. So to make a long story short, if they get rid of the Mexican pizza, Dean Martin's going to be pissed.
I got a quick one for you, Dean, if you don't mind. You brought
Hey,
up kids.
Tyrone, I like that
Dean.
voice. You could be a Rat Packer.
Oh, I'm honored. I am honored, sir. And that brings up part of my question. So for people, let's say millennials, or people who are younger who may be watching, who exactly is Dean Martin?
It's funny. I've been on a couple of these shows where the kids didn't know who I was, those wacky, kooky kids. So Dean Martin grew up in the United States and was a crooner and did a lot of movies with Jerry Lewis, that son of a bitch. And then he went on to do some Westerns and do some Matt Helm, sang some great songs. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be.
Yes.
Dean Martin's a crooner. So that's, I would compare him to like an Ed Sheeran, maybe.
Okay.
Except for better looking. I'm sorry, the original Dean Martin's better looking. The guy back here in the drawing.
So it was the freezing process that changed things a little bit.
The freezing totally fucked me up. Yeah, I look a lot like Scott, and he's not a handsome man. So I
I'm not
lost the hair. I'm in a lot of pain over how I look. So that's why I wear the hat.
Well, thank you for graciously answering my question. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I love you, man.
Dean, tell us what you really think of Jerry Lewis.
I got to tell you, he was just a hyper asshole. I mean, I couldn't. I know I was funnier than him, but he's running around going, hey, yeah, hey, lady, and all this stuff, and here I am just being calm, cool, and collected, and absolutely not knowing my lines. But he gets all the fame, and I die of lung cancer, and my son dies in a plane crash. I mean, how's that fair? And why didn't they continue the muscular dystrophy telethon? I don't get it. Brett, I didn't like him.
It doesn't sound like it.
Yeah. I did like King of Comedy, though.
Like the Steve Harvey, Bernie Mac? Those guys?
The Martin Scorsese movie.
Oh, okay.
You're young.
What can I say?
Anybody
Robert
else got
De
some
Niro.
questions
That's
for
the-
Dino?
That's a Robert De Niro one where he plays the stand-up, right? And it's kind of like a sicko.
Correct.
It's kind of like a wacko guy.
Yep, Rupert Pumpkin and Jerry Lewis was a talk show host. They wanted. Oh, sorry, it's Dean. I got out of character. Hey, it's Dean Martin. Yeah, they wanted Dean Martin here. They wanted Johnny Carson to play that role, but he turned it down because he's not an actor. So they got old Jerry Lewis. Yeah. Anybody else got?
He's not a wacko. He's every open micer I've ever met.
I've met some open micers. This is Dean Martin here. I know you guys have been doing the Zoom rooms, but I got to say, have you ever seen somebody smoke crack in a Zoom room? Because Dino has.
Smoked crack or seen someone smoke crack?
Seen someone.
Okay. The distinction is important. I can't wait to hear the story, though.
It was actually Scott that was in the room, but I was looking over his shoulder, and the dude, the guy who opened the room, it wasn't a public room; it was supposed to be a private room. This is Dean Martin, and he let just anybody in. And first of all, he had some bombers that threw a bunch of porn at everybody, and then we had this guy who was acting kind of weird, kind of wacky, and then all of a sudden, he gets a blowtorch out and starts doing the crack cocaine, which was pretty popular in '95 when I passed away, but not so much now. I mean, meth has really taken over for that. But that's what happened. I saw it. It was real.
All right. The most exciting thing I saw was a guy on a treadmill watching the comedy show. He was just on the treadmill the whole time. We were like, okay, interesting. So.
What was his mic turned on?
No, he, thank God, did not have his mic on, but that's all we could watch. Like there, various audience members, and we all just kept staring at this guy on the treadmill working out. And he looked like Santa Claus, had a big beard. And so we were all in the chat, like, are you guys watching the guy on the treadmill? It was just really funny, very random. And then he, of course, was the guy who won the raffle for tickets for another show. And so and he got all excited. He was like, yeah. And we're like, don't fall. Please don't trip. Like, it was so funny. Yeah. So that was
if you could guess, I mean, what number was he on? Was he doing like a 4 or a 5? Or?
Oh, no, it was like a 3. He was very slow. Very slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was a couple that ate dinner the entire time. They must have had their iPad right at level. So all you could see was them like slicing. And then they get into their refrigerator to get wine. And of course we stared at that the whole time. I was like, what is happening? Like, it was so random. It was like the weirdest show, but fun at the same time.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that was really weird.
Sounds like you were doing comedy Peloton for this guy.
I know, right? It was so weird. I was like, what else is going to happen? So like, that was weird. And then at the very end of that show, it was really fun. I had a fun, they were a fun audience. We had a great host. And at the very end of my set, this old lady goes, and I have a copy of the recording. Very old lady, like 80 years old. She goes, well, I don't think she's very funny. And so I go, well, you guys, I'm apparently not very funny. And so everyone died laughing. And I was like, thank you. Have a good night. And so we all just cracked up. So it's really funny. Oh, it was a riot.
That's fantastic. I'm still Dean Martin. Thank you, Vickie. That was a great story.
Thanks, Dean.
Not quite as good as my crack story, but it's a good story. So I'm going to throw a couple questions at you guys. First question is, I'm going to just go around randomly here. If somebody was going to play you in a movie of your life, which famous person would you want to play you? I'm going to go to Al first. It's me, Dean Martin. How you doing, Al?
It's easy. It's hold on a sec. It's Woody Allen. He's got a lot more talent than I do, so that probably turned out pretty well.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, how about you, Tyrone?
Oh, I was hoping to have a little more time to think. Okay, but no, I got it. I think it would have to be Sacha Baron Cohen. Yeah, that guy's just a genius. He's hilarious, super talented, and all those things describe me perfectly. So it would have to be him.
Excellent. Hey, Brett, how about you? It's me, Dean Martin. How are you?
Hey, Dean, how you doing? John Cusack, because when I was younger, I kind of looked like him.
He's pretty available. I've seen him in some pretty shitty movies since I got Unfrozen.
Yeah, that would be great. Listen, I just got to work on the script.
Hey, Holly, who would play you in a movie of your life?
Oh my God, I don't know. Brendan Fraser. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. Probably like Emma Stone or some young actress that gets all the parts.
All right.
Wow.
Hey, Kevin, it's me, Dean.
Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah.
Kevin, how many seconds behind are you? I think you're almost to 30.
Did we go to me again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting everything on like a 5-second delay, and I'm getting every third word.
Oh man, I'm sorry. What I'll do is I'll do a transcript of this whole thing and send it.
Star as me in a movie. I would. That works.
I missed it, man. Okay, it's going to be Russell Crowe. It's me, Dean Martin. Russell Crowe is going to play you in a movie of your life. Thanks, Kevin. It's been great talking to you on a 30-second delay. Jay. I've known some Jays in my day. Who would play you in a movie of your life?
Well, Dean, this is a hard question to answer because I believe that in your era, it would really disturb you to see a man of my complexion starring in a film. So then, having to go with that, the only time in your era of films that you saw an Indian as a lead character was in the Peter Sellers film The Party. So I'm guessing the one you would approve of is Peter Sellers would have to play me in his brown face with the peanut butter on the roof of his mouth.
Maybe you're forgetting me and Sammy hung out.
A little bit more acceptable because he was Jewish. So you still had he had the Jewish thing going for him. Jews ran Hollywood back then.
Yeah. I tell you, I hate to talk. I hate to talk about people who didn't get cryogenically frozen and are actually under the earth, but that son of a bitch used to do some crazy shit with his eye. I mean, he could shoot that baby across the room and land it in my scotch anytime he wanted to. All right. Well, Dean's got another question for y'all, and we're dropping like flies here.
Get down to 6.
That's why you invite 10, so you can get 6. Oh shit! Kevin's back and he's upside down. Son of a bitch!
Oh, there
so
he
this
is.
this is one of my favorite songs. I'm just going to look at Kevin upside down. One of my favorite things is "Hey Vickie." Oh, Kevin, hi, how are you? Vickie,
Yes.
What's your favorite guilty pleasure song? What song do you listen to and just love, but you don't want to listen around in mixed company?
Oh, it would definitely be a Barry Manilow song. Probably like that. What's that? Autumn in New England.
Oh,
You
what
know.
about Mandy?
Oh, sure. Any of those from the 70s. I can sing all that. My brother had those growing up. He's 5 years older than me, and on vinyl. And you remember, you send a penny and you get to pick all the albums and stuff. So when I was a kid, we would listen to all those. So yeah, any like Barry Manilow, and I know all the words. It's terrible. So yeah,
excellent.
Yeah.
Hey Al, what's your favorite guilty pleasure song? It's me, Dean Martin, still.
I love Elvis. I will listen to Elvis all day, any day. And matter of fact, my sister and I used to watch Elvis movies growing up, and we would count the number of songs in his movies, and it was upwards of 20.
Oh yeah,
well, that's a real interesting fun fact, Al. Thanks for sharing. That's it. That's all I got, Dean.
Scott's mom used to go to those shows, the movies in the theater, and the girls would scream like he was really there. But he wasn't, because it was like a movie.
Yeah.
Hey Brett, what's your favorite guilty pleasure song? It's me, Dean Martin.
That's a tricky one. You know, I would say the show A Little Night Music by Stephen Sondheim.
Oh.
That's one that I probably should listen to only when alone. It's because I sing along.
Yeah.
Which is just not good for anybody.
You're kind of a classy son of a bitch, aren't you?
If Dean Martin's telling me I am, then I must be.
I'm expecting some ABBA or some Styx, and I'm getting Sondheim. Come on. Hey, Tyrone, what's your favorite guilty pleasure song?
I got to be honest. I don't have any guilt for the song, but I feel like it probably isn't accepted in the mainstream the way I love it. But it's Rosanna by Toto. That's just one of the coolest songs ever. And yeah, I listen to it whenever I can.
Excellent. So Scott went to see Ringo last year, and the dude from Toto was in there, and I don't remember the dude's name because Scott wasn't a Toto fan, but they actually killed on that song. They did Africa and Rosanna, and it was good shit.
Yeah, I have seen them live, and they are amazing. And I was not a lot of people at that concert looked like me, and it was fun.
You know what's funny? I've got a Scott story because he tells me all this shit. It's still me, Dean Martin.
Hey,
Scott went to see Melissa Etheridge in the 80s, right after she came out as being a lesbian in Rolling Stone, and he was in the third row, and all these women are up there just going crazy for her and showing her the t-shirts that they bought, and she finally stopped and said, I know about those because I sell them, and then they put the t-shirts down. So Scott was at that show and he had a good time. Matthew Sweet opened. LOL. Hey Holly, what's your favorite guilty pleasure song?
Anything ABBA. I'm a huge ABBA fan. I listen to ABBA in my home 24/7. So literally anything Mamma Mia or ABBA related.
Yeah, excellent. Hey Jay, what's your favorite guilty pleasure song?
Oh, I kind of like "Show Me Love" by Robin.
Dean actually knows that song.
Yeah, everybody should know a good Robin song.
Yeah. Reminds him a little bit of Donna Summer back in the day.
They don't know who Donna Summer is.
Yeah, I know.
I know who Donna Summer is, but I just don't know how to make a comparison to Robin.
I'm talking the beat, not the voice. Hey, Kevin. Can you tell me in like a minute and a half what your favorite guilty pleasure song is? We'll wait.
Surrender, Cheap Trick. Next question.
Oh man,
Nailed it.
that shouldn't be guilty
song.
pleasure. That's good shit. Chris Wright. I like it when Robin sings, but all they do is tweet. Yeah.
No,
hey, Chris,
it's
how
a
you
great
doing?
song.
I'm glad you're watching. So Dino's got a guilty pleasure song. It's "Breaking the Law" by Judas Priest. He loves the Priest, and he sings along. Breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking that crazy law. Yeah. Dean has finished his drink, and Scott's too. That was some good cheap bourbon. Well, so Dean has spent way too much time here tonight. That he's made up for when he wasn't here last week. Holy cow! So first off, I want to thank you all for being part of the show. And second, I want to remind everybody that's watching that the Plano Comedy Festival is coming up October 1st through the 4th. The little ticker thing, planocomedyfestival.com. Go there, get your tickets for who you want to see, or get a ticket for the whole shooting match, and just watch comedy for 4 days. I mean, it's not like you got anything else to do for the weekend. So just watch people be funny. You're going to see some breakout stars that are probably going to be on virtual Jimmy Kimmel one of these days, or virtual who's doing talk shows? I don't even know. Virtual Tonight Show, whoever's doing this stuff. And you're going to see some great stuff. So please make sure you check in and get your tickets. And also, while you're here, take out your mobile device and pull up your podcast app and type in Behind the Bits, and you'll see my little thingy. I'm going to cover up Brett's face for a second here. Sorry, Brett, half your face. Behind the Bits, you'll see that little guy. Subscribe and just download all the episodes. There's like 39 of them. Just download them all, because I was on the charts and I got kicked off, and now I'm on the Great Britain charts for some damn reason. And whatever it takes, just get me on those charts so I can sell some ads. And thank you all for being here. I don't know if any of you are on my show. My show is, I'm doing Saturday night, I think 8 p.m. show.
I think I'm on that one.
Okay. And then I'm doing the Sunday roast show. I don't know why they put me on that, but I'm on that. So that's
it's not you. They booked Dean. They booked Dean Martin for the roast.
Of course.
Oh,
Nice.
there you go.
Dean may show up. That son of a bitch. I mean, he just takes over the mic whenever he wants.
That son of a bitch.
Disappointed I did not get called a son of a bitch tonight.
Yeah.
Tyrone, you son of a bitch.
Oh, thank you so much. Sleep so much better.
I don't even know if it's okay to say that anymore, but it's just something I say.
It is.
But anywho, we've done our hour and a little bit plus. I want to thank you all for being on the show and being patient with some of the sound issues and internet issues. When we get this many people in a room, the bandwidth just sucks all the way through all your cities, and nobody can get on their DSL now. So when we stop, everybody will be able to download their Instagrams, and everything will be okay. But thanks for being on, Jay, Vickie, Brett, Kevin, Tyrone, Al, and Justin, and
Holly.
Wendy,
Holly.
Holly. Yeah, Holly. I'm sorry, I missed you, but there was Justin and Niko didn't make it, and there was Weidmann, the Weidmann girl. And yeah, so thank you so much for being on the show. We are going to go off live here, and thank you all for watching. We had quite a few people watch tonight. Thanks for watching. Make sure you tune into the podcast, and make sure you check out Plano Comedy Festival.